Welcome back to Let's Play Metal Gear Solid 4. Snake is on Shadow Moses Island. He has to go and reach Metal Gear Rex before Liquid has a chance to get to it. Now here we are, we've reached the snowfield. Now, this is an area of the game or the area of Shadow Moses Island that we really didn't have much access to during the game. But we were actually able to go through here. It's a little bit confusing. They took some liberties, as mentioned in the last episode, with the layout of the island. For example, this area we are in is actually comprised of several different areas which existed in Metal Gear Solid, such as the snowfield where you fought Sniper Wolf, also the narrow corridor leading to the communications building where you fought Sniper Wolf the first time. So both areas where you fought Sniper Wolf are in this area, all in one. So also the two communication towers, and it looks different. So there are the communication towers there.
The comm towers. This is where you fought Liquid's Hind D.
That was a tough scrape.
But you still managed to shoot down his gunship. Up till then, I'd heard that even with a man-pads, going one-on-one against an attack chopper was an act of suicide. I thought only Hollywood action stars did that kind of thing, but you made it look easy.
I just told you, it wasn't that easy.
Really? But you were all like, oh, I had to take out that helicopter. Real cool. Like it was nothing.
All right, enough chit-chat. Let's get going. We got a long way to go to Rex's hangar.
Yeah, you're right, Snake.
What in the hell?
Show me your tears. Let them flow. Cry until your eyes run red.
It's boss battle time. We are fighting, what is this, Raging Wolf? Or no, Raging Raven. This is, Well, anyway, this is the wolf with the sniper rifle, and despite being in the same area that we had fought Sniper Wolf, the gameplay is going to be quite a bit different, not only because the area of play is much larger, but because this wolf will move around the area a lot quicker. And there will be additional soldiers. The frogs are here. So you're going to have to avoid them. You're also going to have to make sure that you remain in a good position relative to where a wolf is. Crying wolf, that's what her name is. So look at the direction in which the snow is falling. That is wind that is carrying that snow, and you have to make sure that you are not upwind of wolf's position, because she will smell you and find you. Now, I started this off by running around taking out a bunch of the frogs. It's not really something you have to do. There's a good possibility that once you dodge the frogs, you'll be able to basically hide out from them the entire battle, even though they never stop coming after you. You'll never be able to kill all of them. Oh, here comes Wolf. Now, if this looks familiar, this area in particular was where we had fought Sniper Wolf before. Now, in that game, Metal Gear Solid, these metal fences we're looking at stretched around the entire area and sort of enclosed it in. In the decade since that game, the abandoned facility, I guess, has taken some damage, and some of those sections of wall have gone missing, opening up a larger area. I hope we'll get a chance to see it, but there is also a section where over on the, I guess it's the east side of the map, where the trench between the commander's office and the communication tower where we fought in Sniper Wolf the first time. You'll be able to see it. It's a little bit unrecognizable. They did take some liberties with it, but overall I'm pleased that they decided to do this. Now, you're going to want to go and use... she hit. You're going to want to use your night vision goggles while trying to target Sniper Wolf, because there's a whiteout and you can't see that far ahead. But night vision goggles, with that you can. There are a lot of different ways that you can damage Sniper or Crying Wolf. One of the ways, which is the way that I'm doing, is to simply use a sniper rifle, hide somewhere, and target her when she sticks her head out. It's going to be difficult to do any damage this way while she's moving. It's also going to be difficult to do any damage while she is hiding inside of her armor there. There's a few like vent ports or something like that on the side of the body which work, but they're hard to target. Oh, frogs. So it's going to be your best just plopping down. I think that's it right there. There, I got her. A few times. The SVD that you pick up here, but I'm not entirely sure why there is one hidden on Shadow Moses Island. But an SVD is a Russian assault rifle. I'm sorry, a Russian sniper rifle, which was built for... no, my bad. The SVD is, it's a sniper rifle, a Russian sniper rifle, commonly called the Dragunov sniper rifle, because I'm pretty sure that word is in the name, but, you know, my Russian's not so good. But it's a 7.62 rifle that I guess was... I've never fired one or anything, but I hear it's really good. Semi-automatic, designed to be used for long range as well as medium or maybe even close range. See how it's, in this game anyway, it's fairly effective at taking out the frogs that get too close to Snake, as opposed to some of the some of the sniper rifles that I was already carrying around, which may not be particularly good, like the DSR-1 I'm using here, which is a bolt action, not particularly good once the enemies get close to you, even though as a bolt action it's probably more accurate, and I would assume that one's doing more damage. Okay, I lost Wolf. Notice the battery indicator down at the lower left corner of the screen. That's something you do have to be careful of in this battle, because you can't just run around with the solid eye set to infrared vision the entire time, because it uses up the battery a lot faster. You have to be careful. If you run out of battery, then you're going to have to hang around for a while waiting for it to recharge. And unfortunately, the wolf and the frogs will not wait around for that to happen. So just disengage it periodically, keep your battery level up. They're getting close. Frogs aren't particularly good at tracking you in the weather. They mostly just run around like crazy. Oh jeez, I must enjoy the killing. So that's something that always wows me, at least a little bit, while playing through the Shadow Moses portion of this game, is that it's able to have all of these large areas being played simultaneously. For example, when we first arrived, there was the area where Snake jumped off the helicopter. There was when you move on to the heliport, there was the heliport portion. Then there was the tank hangar. And then there was the snowfield between the tank hammer and the nuke weapon disposal building. All of those existed in the same game space. So there was no loading between any of those different portions. Whereas in Metal Gear Solid, that would have been 1, 2, 4 different places that each would have to load individually. Not only is it keeping track of all those waves simultaneously, it is also looking a hell of a lot better. And the AI, I would have to say, even though you don't encounter any soldiers, you do encounter Gecko and Dwarf Gecko, which are kind of a little bit dumber than you'd expect regular soldiers in this game to be. They're still probably better AI than you had seen back in Metal Gear Solid. Oh, here we are. It doesn't really look too much like it, but this is supposed to be the narrow corridor leading up to the communications building that Snake had fought Sniper Wolf the first time in. It was also where lost Meryl. She was gunned down by Sniper Wolf, and while Snake was retrieving a PSG-1 sniper rifle, Meryl was captured. But that was the location right there. Doesn't really seem like it. The scale seems a bit smaller. I guess there might be a lot of snow piled up on the ground to make it look like the area is shorter. But that's what it's supposed to be. They probably could have done a little bit better job getting that across. But you can't knock them for everything. It really is kind of nitpicky. Okay, it's time to find the crying wolf again. We cannot climb the communication towers inside like we could back in Metal Gear Solid, but you can go up a couple of floors on the outside. And this gives you, as long as you're using the night vision, a relatively decent viewpoint, or vantage point of the battlefield. It's not going to be perfect. There's a lot of stuff that'll be obscured from you. But, I mean, you might be able to see where Wolf is from there, and it's definitely better for seeing the frogs. Wolf in particular is kind of hard to see even with night vision on, because it doesn't pick up the body that she has very well. The the wolf body doesn't produce a lot of heat or infrared emissions, I guess, so you can't really see it. Did I get her? Oh! She's got a railgun. Watch out, that shit's brutal. There we go. Okay, she's almost down. Now, I want to try... Well, I've already played this before I'm recording the commentary, so I know whether it works or not. But you can go and... Another method of trying to take out Wolf is to use explosives. Grenades, grenade launchers, rocket launchers, that kind of stuff. As long as you can manage to damage her little angry events on the side. It didn't really work out too well. I guess you would really have to commit to that kind of strategy for it to work. Plus, I really probably should be saving all of my rocket-propelled grenades and that kind of stuff for a little bit later on in the game. So I probably shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. Gotta love that M4. Just such a nice weapon in this game. The weather effects on Shadow Moses is also really nice. I mean, not just like the footprints and all that in the snow, but it really does look like you're in whiteout conditions, especially when you first land there. And if you stand there long enough, Snake builds up a lot of snow and stuff on his arms and shoulders and stuff.
I hear them. I hear the cries. The cries of babies. Stop it! Stop crying!
These women are crazy.
Please stop crying! Go away. Don't come any closer. I'm sorry. I was so scared. Forgive me. I'm sorry. You can cry if you want. Cry if you need to. No. I don't need tears anymore. We'll be there to listen.
Here we go with this again. She has stepped out of her armor, and now she's just walking towards you, and you have to gun her down, or tranquilize her, or whatever you really feel like doing. But you have to incapacitate her somehow. Of course, the best way to do this is with a fully automatic. It tends to avoid or dodge a lot of your attacks, but it's a lot harder for her to do when you're using automatics. Especially if you just fill the air with lead. And there we have it.
Yo, Snake, I finished laundering that rail gun you picked up just now. Knock yourself out. It's on the house.
Thanks.
Time for another bedtime story, Snake. This one's about crying wolf. You don't need me to tell you there's whole nations in Africa tearing themselves apart in the name of ethnic cleansing. Well, she was born into that environment. When she was a little girl, her village was attacked by rival armed factions. Her parents and siblings were slaughtered, and she was left a refugee. She took her last surviving relative, her baby brother, and ran as far as she could away from the war zone. One day, they came across an enemy unit, so she took her brother and hid in an abandoned shack. And then her brother started to cry. She knew that if the soldiers heard the noise, they would find them and kill them both. So she wrapped her hand as tight as she could around his mouth. As the footsteps gradually went away, she came back to her senses. Her brother wasn't crying anymore. Horrified, she pulled her hand away, covered in sweat and spit. He wasn't breathing. They say wolves eat their own pups when they die. She was spotted wandering through the thick of battle, carrying her dead brother in her arms. She had visions, too. A wolf walking alongside her. Every night, the wolf would howl and cry, just like her brother did that day. Eventually, she made it to a government-run refugee camp. But by then, her brother's body had rotted away. The camp was crowded with refugees like herself, and little children like her brother. Day and night, she was tormented by the cries of babies. The wolf that followed her heard her sorrowful screams and answered. He made his way around the camp, and one by one, he silenced the children. She tried to stop it, but she was powerless to stop the wolf. A few days passed, and on the eve of the enemy's raid, there wasn't a child left. The adults who survived were torn up pretty bad. Of course, there was never any wolf in that camp. She was the one who killed those babies. But she couldn't bring herself to admit it. She couldn't bear the thought of herself going from one baby to the next, howling like a wolf, snuffing out their little lives. And she never did, even as Crying Wolf, a lonely beast forever stalking the battlefield. Snake, fighting with you made Wolf finally accept what she'd done. She was cleansed by you. If the cries she heard of children on the battlefield have been silenced, it's because of you. You ought to be proud. 3 down, 1 to go. All that's left is Mantis. But you should know, Snake, she's been controlling all the other beasts. She's the beast of beasts. Don't let her get her hooks in you.
I won't.
See you around, Snake.
Where does he get this information from?